Hey,
Hey, welcome back,
hey.
everybody. It's fourth and fuck it. Welcome back to the Mindful CEO, where it's fourth down and fuck it. Yeah,
It's fun to
I'm
say,
not
isn't
much of
it?
a foot. I'm not much. Yeah, I love it. It's not much of a. I'm not a big football guy anymore, but I know you are. And you were you were telling me about, was it Detroit, the Detroit coach?
Yeah, Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell's got this attitude, which is they've got it on t-shirts and stuff, and it's um fourth and fuck it. Which if
Uh,
you've ever watched them play, you know that's exactly how they fucking play that game. Lions
do
are
they go for? Do they go for everything on fourth down, or
no,
they? Oh, okay.
no, but they go I don't even know if they go above league average. I'm not that much of a nerd, but
Yeah.
his style when you watch them play is fourth and fuck it. I mean, a couple of years ago, lost the playoff game because they went for it, but they've been going for it all year. They just never, they don't hesitate. And we've been talking about the principles of mindfulness, the principles of a mindful CEO. What are some tenets? What are some pillars?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
And,
probably
and
a
and fourth and
third
fuck it
metaphor.
is.
You could do a
It,
triplet if you want to, but um, what are some pillars of being a mindful CEO. And uh, I think that's one. I think that's a useful one is fourth and fuck it. Like, okay, we're close to something. Yeah, there's something about to happen. There's something that we want to have happen. We're out to make something happen. We're
Mm,
close to it. We could either play it safe and see if we can get this to go later,
right.
or we could just press pedal to the metal, full on,
uh,
fourth down, fuck it. What's the worst thing that could happen is that we get stopped and, we'll deal with that consequence later, but we're going to go for it. And I think there's a
mm,
element of uh, liveliness to that, there's just a mindfulness to it. There's a lack of concern, a lack of constraint
yeah.
that gets expressed in mindfulness. Like if I'm fully present in the moment, I'm not
Right.
often there's nothing tethering me to the past. There's nothing tethering me to safety. I know I can swing way out. And even
Yeah.
if I don't accomplish it, I'll be where I am now. Where
Yeah.
I'll be where I am then, I'll be there, fully be
Hmm.
there and own the result, like from a process standpoint, you trust the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if the
Mm,
process is it's fourth and go, then it's fourth and go. And we don't second guess, we don't quibble, we don't step back, we don't worry.
mm,
We're just
mhm.
out playing full out on the skinny branches. And
Yeah. Mm.
that's how I hear fourth and fuck it in relative to being a mindful CEO.
Yeah. It's interesting because we've talked about this before, but if typically your fear, oh, what if I make a mistake? What if this doesn't go the way I want? Tends to live in the future because you're speculating about whether it will or won't work. And you
Mhm.
really, you don't know. That's you living in the future, not the now. Which actually, I think two episodes ago, when we were talking about the power of now, like that, Michael Jordan's now is different than somebody else's now, just because of how they're showing up to it. But
Mhm.
um, and then what is it? Guilt and shame is the thing that lives in what lives in the past. If fear lives in the future,
Yeah, guilt and shame live in the past.
like it should have been different. I wish I had done it something else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. I'm embarrassed about this. I wish I hadn't
yeah.
done that.
But it's a really free. I mean, I really like the idea of a fourth and fuck it from a playful way to do business, a playful way to live life. That there's a I don't know that I'm great at that. That's something for me to look at, but I like the idea that there's a oh yeah, like what if that's just what how I played the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you're going for it more on more occasions. No, think about fourth and fucking if you want to get sort of more uh, around the metaphor, like what it means in the context of the game. You
Yeah.
know, it means you trust you trust the players to get it done.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, there's an element of trust in both offense and defense that you're placing a greater trust in the players
Yeah.
to get the job done when you as the coach say fourth and fuck it, let's go.
Mm.
You're saying both that the offense is going to get it done, that they're going to be able to convert that first down. So you're trusting the players there. And you're also saying, look, if we don't get it, I trust the defense to stop them from where we are.
Wow.
Um,
I, yeah.
as opposed
That's
to going
loaded.
the easy way out, right? Which would be to kick it, do something else with the ball. Um, so there's an element of trust that you've got in the players around you that expresses that's worth, I think, underlining
Yeah.
um, to live that way. And I think that's also got a
Yeah.
truthiness for a mindful CEO. I think that's got validity for someone who's out proclaiming themselves as a mindful CEO.
Yeah. I mean, it deepens the conversation because if you're, well, let's say one, if you're a solopreneur, you're the CEO of your own life and your own business,
Mhm.
and there is no, let's say, team necessarily. Now you could talk about your spirit guides, your ancestors. You could you could talk about, the other players that are involved here that you could you let go and trust that the universe has your back. Um, that's one way I hear that. The second way is if you do have a business with teams and wow, it's a really big statement about do you trust them enough to say fuck it, fourth and fuck it, like or did you hire out of urgency and you wouldn't trust your team on a fourth down for anything, so you're going to punt it.
Yeah.
I think that's really, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. I think it's a real, yeah. And then, you know, the fourth and fuck it comes in and, you know, so everything's, there's creating sort of a Venn diagram of this, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
that element of a principle of the going for itness
Yeah,
of this of the mindful CEO
yeah,
and what it is to go for it. Uh, and then there's the other ones we were talking about, right? The other uh metaphors.
yeah. Like the Ram Dass stuff,
Yeah,
the 1-2 step. Yeah, the two
yeah,
stepper.
yeah.
You want me to say
Uh,
that?
yeah, so the two-stepper was uh
Listen to your
listen
inner
to your
voice.
inner voice,
Yeah,
right? Which we've talked about a
a
lot,
lot.
right? The thinning of the veil, the uh you know, really giving us the opportunity to hear what, you know, the left brain is saying, to all that stuff, listening to your inner
Yeah,
voice, right? Prayer is speaking to God, meditation is listening, all that world. I don't think any of
yeah.
that's, you know, new to the show or new to what we're out to build, right? Listening to your inner voice. Um, but then there's the other one, which was trusting yourself, right? Be honest with
Or be
yourself.
honest.
Be
Yeah,
honest
be
with
honest with
yourself.
yourself.
And Ram Dass goes on to say, you know, that we listen to our inner voice and it takes us to a path and we walk down that path. And then we get to the end of the path and we don't let go and we force ourselves to continue despite it being used up, that we
Uh,
have too much invested in that. And I thought you
mm.
had some really good stuff to say about that, that illuminated things for me. So why don't you talk about that for a minute? Because I like where we're going with that.
Yeah, well, there's I feel like I've done a lot of listening for what's the path, where am I going to go, and I would say the path I'm on is a calling, and you go down the road of implementing the thing, that executing on what you feel that there is to do with what I call important work, and then there's so much invested that it becomes hard for me to listen if that inner voice is asking me to do something other than what I've just spent all this time investing in. Like, I have time invested. I've got people, I've got visions, I've got ecosystems, I have stuff I've been
Mm,
working on. And so I'm not super open to listening to something that's different than that, because I have so much invested. There's a lot of
right.
sunken costs in building something. And but well, let me just take it down. We've talked about my marriage on this podcast once or twice. I just completed my divorce a week or two ago, and there were some times 20 at year 20, well, for a handful of times in the last 4 years of our marriage, it just felt like I don't know I don't know if this is going to work. And but the other part of me was like, sunken costs. Like, I have this much invested, and um there were a lot of things that prevented me from seeing how I wasn't honored in the relationship. I was trying to honor the relationship, but I wasn't being honored in the relationship, and I
Mm,
stuck it out. Um, and I think those become really hard decisions. I don't know that a business is any less, if you really put your heart into a business, it's any less hard to move on when your inner
right.
voice is inviting you to what's next. It's very hard. It's a hard decision to make.
Yeah, that thing about being a hard decision is where that's really where the key to mindfulness, that's where mindfulness provides the key, I think,
Yeah.
is, to take and a little bit of the fourth and fuck it comes in, creeps in there, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's the worst thing that could happen here is if I let go.
Hmm.
I think the thing about sunken cost always appeals to me because it's a cognitive bias, and I have a soft spot for the way human beings operate through these invisible filters, that all perfectly justify a course of action that's really less effective.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we all do it. We're not, no one escapes that. And the thing about mindfulness in particular, and Kahneman would absolutely agree with this, is slowing down is your access to moving beyond the cognitive bias.
Mm,
Any
mm,
cognitive bias
mm.
is slowing down. You've got to get into system two. Yeah, system two.
Yeah.
Slow. Yeah. To get into system two, you've got to slow down. You've got to let system one just do what it does. So, the listening to you get into system two, you hear the inner voice, you trust it, you move down the path, and you're honest with yourself. You're again slowing down so that what's speaking isn't some bias,
Yeah.
right? What's speaking is an honest assessment of the situation,
Yeah.
free of that bias, free of any bias.
Mm, mm, mm.
Um,
Yeah. That's hard, because I could say, depending on what time of day you ask me, I'm
mm,
in those spaces every day with I have a vision I really believe in. And I've been going down this path for quite a while now. And some
with
days I
Jen.
want to take, no, no, sorry. Just in the vision of my
Oh, you're basically okay, right?
business, a groundswell that runs for
Yeah,
generations, and an ecosystem built around it. And I'm in many ways past the honeymoon phase of that vision, where it was all exciting, and now I'm in the grind of like, I'm kind of bored. And I'm like, I don't know, like, I'd like to see some results. And every day, at different times in the day, I can find myself
Mhm.
squirming, like, and it's, I don't know, being honest with myself, getting honest with myself is, I don't know which version of that is the honest version. Is it, I've outgrown this and I'm tired of this and I want to do something else? Or is that the dip and I'm in the dip and I just need
Mhm.
to, do I, if being honest with myself is like, no, this is really what my heart wants, or really want to build this thing to make the world a better place? Or does any of it matter? Fourth and fuck it. I'm going to move on and go make bread. I'm going to start a bakery and you can tutor me.
Be happy to. Don't do it. That's my first tutor. Um,
Right.
did that. Uh,
But I think these are some of the things we get,
yeah.
existential places we get in business where we're like, okay, well, which voice is the honest? Well, how do I be honest with myself? And it gets kind of confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where slow again, the advantage.
Right.
So these principles, it's good. Fourth and fuck it, listen to your inner voice, be honest with yourself. So far, those three, to whatever degree they're separate, fine. You can make them all one. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But they exist inside a context of mindfulness, of slowing down, that their
Hmm.
utility is only um, as powerful or as powerful as you're slow, as you're willing to go slowly.
Mm.
That
Mm.
you could be fourth and fuck it and be reckless and not mindful. And I, you know, don't
Right.
know what that, we know people like that, right? They're
Yeah.
broke, they're gamblers, they do whatever they do. You know what I mean? Like there's no,
Yeah.
if you listen to your inner voice unmindfully, then you might even be a piece of shit, not worthy, it's fucked up, everything's terrible. That's listening to your inner voice. That's an inner voice. That is an inner voice, the one that's
Yeah.
catastrophizing
Yeah.
and we clearly don't mean listen to that inner voice.
Right. Right.
I don't. I mean, you might because you're just a shitty person, but but like, like there's that space, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
um,
Yeah, that's why I brought it up because I could hear in in the places that spaces that feel confusing, the slowing down
mhm.
and getting mindful is helpful. It's and it's also frustrating because business doesn't just, wait for you to figure stuff out. Like, time to make the donuts, got to get up and do stuff. And yet I'm trying to slow it down so that I can listen and get present to a mindful inner voice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Fuck, you had just something in there, and I forgot what it was. And you say that again because I just completely lost my track. I talked myself out of the track.
Well, there was
Um,
it's confusing and I'm slowing down to listen to the inner voice, but business doesn't just wait for you to get an answer. Like, it's time to make the donuts. You got to get up and go
oh yeah, that's sorry. That's
do
why I
stuff.
got sidetracked. Okay, it's time to make the donuts. I got myself sidetracked on the time to make the donuts thing. I was thinking about how old you have to be before
Yeah.
that reference doesn't make sense.
Right, right.
Right, like where's the cutoff for time to, or does that translate universally? And they may not know the original commercial, but it still communicates.
Yeah, right.
So if you're listening, if you're one of the six people listening to the show, and you have some feedback on that, that is of real interest to me. Is how old are you when you before you don't remember where that came from? And does remembering where that came from matter to the metaphor of time to make the donuts? That's the question. Um, yeah, so I think all of that underlines the need for a foundation of mindfulness, a foundation of,
Yeah.
practice.
Mm.
That without that, it becomes, well, without that, first of all, it becomes a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Listen to your inner voice, follow your bliss.
That's
Yes,
right. That's
exactly.
right.
I mean, you hear that shit all the
Namaste.
time, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's not useful because it's not grounded in
Hmm.
any connection to really what it would take to follow your bliss.
Right.
Mostly that just means do what you feel like doing, without, I don't even know what we were talking about our kids earlier. And
Yeah,
it
yeah,
feels like uh, like a young conversation to wrestle with.
yeah.
I'm following my bliss. And I mean, on one hand, great. Then, you're surfing and you're traveling through Europe or you're doing, at 20, that's be great to fucking do that. You should do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no reason why you're not doing that at 60, frankly. I mean, whatever. It's all good. But there's some element of following my bliss that, if it's not an authentic expression of your bliss that you could hear when you in a moment of clarity, a moment of slowing down, then what's it, then getting drunk all day and trying to hit a seven-leg parlay could be, you could talk yourself into that's following your bliss. Um,
Fourth and fuck it. Let's go.
right.
Well, this is the
Mm,
benefit of really getting to know your inner voice. Like I think that's another benefit of mindfulness is if you or even meditation, just the you got to spend time with it to know it, like to distinguish the voices, the parts. If you did parts
mm,
work, if you ever done parts work, you're like, nope, that's my critic. That's my overprotective parent. Like they're
yeah.
like, which is the voice? That's the when we say the inner voice, like I think we're saying your higher self. I think we're saying the one that is guiding
Mm,
you with wisdom. Um, but it takes more than one session of meditation or journaling to have a relationship to that inner voice. So, you know, I'm not
yeah.
sure that your higher self is saying, let's drink all day and do the whatever you said, the seven legs of whatever it was. What did you say? What did you just say about getting
Yeah.
drunk all day and what?
Hit a seven-leg parlay. It's a gambling thing.
Okay.
Parlay is when you have set any number of bets that all need to hit
Oh my God.
for you
Okay.
to
Yeah.
make an
Right.
exponentially large amount of money. Right.
Yeah. I don't know that your
Um,
inner voice is your higher self is inviting you to
yeah.
that. I don't. Right.
Um, yeah, I think it's really it yeah, I think if standing in a foundation of mindfulness, of slowing down, of being in the moment, of being present, letting go of anything else, I think those principles show up as doorways, as opportunities for insight, opportunities to have the world occur in a particular way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I was having a meditation yesterday. It felt great. I was sitting in the sun outside and got that kind of that fall
mm,
air, the warm sun. And I don't know, I was probably sitting on purpose to meditate for 20 minutes. I kind of
mm.
lost track of time. Um, and it was great, man. I could really feel the spaces between thoughts. Like it was like I wasn't like, whoa,
Look at
thought,
that.
thought, thought, thought. I was just like enjoying the space between thoughts. And then got done with my meditation. And then like all these thoughts. And I was like irritated, like all of this noise now. I had been in such a nice space. And then I was like, traffic and I can like I was so irritated. It's not exactly, I mean, maybe it's not exactly related to this conversation, but I was
No, it
interested in
is.
your
I mean, it's
in your
that
take
thing.
on that. Does that happen to you? Like, you come out of a mindful space and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden loud chatter noises overwhelm. And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's, it happens all the time.
yeah.
I mean, looks, that's why I keep telling people when they're learning to meditate, stop judging your experience on the short term. Because look,
Hmm.
sometimes you have a really agitated meditation and you come
Uh-huh.
out and it's peaceful. It's not agitated,
Mm. Mm.
but you had a really agitated meditation. Sometimes it's not you can't measure it one practice at a time.
Yeah,
You need a longer term horizon.
yeah. I
Because,
definitely, yeah, go ahead.
no, no.
Well, I definitely felt, we've talked about Michael Singer before and how, he would do yoga poses just to shut up the voice. And
Mhm,
yesterday in that experience, I got, oh, yeah, I was experiencing what he was talking about because I came out of that meditation and then bam, all the voices. And he would just go back to a yoga pose just to get that space between thoughts. And
mhm.
I really had a lived experience yesterday of what that feels like to be, you know, to quiet that it wasn't even like trying to quiet the voice. I wasn't trying to quiet the voices. I was just really sailing in the spaces between thoughts. It was just it was a cool experience. I could see why that was so attractive for him. He's like, I just can't wait to get back to my next yoga pose. Yeah. And then he would show up like, listening to your inner voice, lead you down a path, and then being honest. He would just show up to whatever the invisible hand brought, and he would do his best to serve people and then go back to a yoga pose. And he just really was in this, I don't know, this give and take or this call and response type of a
When you say like,
rhythm. Yeah. What's that?
I'm just the call and response part.
Yeah.
Say me more about that.
I remember my parents were Methodists, and they would be this thing they would do in church, right? Where like the pastor would say blah, and then the congregation would say blah. There would be this call and this response thing, and
Hmm.
I think sometimes there could be a call and response type of rhythm with life if you're really dancing with it that way. There's like a here's somebody to serve, and then Michael
Yeah.
Singer would be like, okay, I'm now going to serve them, and then that's over. He goes back to yoga poses, and then the universe says, here's a thing, and there's a call, and then he has a response, and there's a really I just like the dance of that. I think that would really take listening to your inner voice and being honest with yourself to do it rather than trying to steamroll some agenda down. Um, yeah, but it's definitely at this stage, I'll be 50 in March. At this stage,
Hmm.
it's more attractive to me. I'm getting frustrated with the agenda driven business style. Oh, we're gonna drive our KPIs over whatever, and we're gonna force this thing through. Um, I'd rather kind of dance in it and find the piece of that
Hmm.
because I think I'm just tired of I'll say force it, but trying to make it happen. I
Hmm.
prefer almost the idea of a call and response type of a
A call and response with the universe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
yeah.
I think that, and it's interesting. I think it's probably what you were saying, but now I can hear it in my own head. That's the interplay between listening to yourself and being honest with yourself, listening to your inner voice and being honest with yourself.
Mm, mm,
That's the call and response. But again,
mm.
if you don't do that mindfully, then it's just you're fucking spiraling, arguing with yourself, staying up late at night about what to do. But really, honestly, you're not.
Mm.
It's not guidance if it doesn't come from a mindful practice.
Yeah.
It's none of this makes any sense if you try and do this without having a foundation of being present.
Mm, mm. Yeah. Yep. This is worth like rewind, just rewind that, hit your 10 seconds
Mhm.
back button and because that's really It doesn't
Yeah.
work if you don't do that. We're back to bumper stickers, if we're not present. Oh yeah, let's talk about mindfulness. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's standing in that practice. So that those are I like those as beginning foundational principles, and I like thinking from there. Um, what other foundational principles will pop up? But
Yeah.
it's good because it's important to me because without it's important to acknowledge the foundation of mindfulness needs to be there first.
Yeah. Before listening to your inner voice
Yes.
and being honest with yourself,
Yeah.
or really any other principle, I suppose.
Yeah.
Fourth and fuck it. Yeah, that's really good. And experientially, I can feel from that meditation specifically yesterday. I could just really feel that um, uh, having a practice like that
Mhm.
supports getting present, supports the getting present, so that you have that foundation. And without that,
Yeah.
I've journaled a long time in my life. I haven't journaled much lately, but journaling even was not a getting. In some ways, it was like a writing down the things I was observing, but it also wasn't getting present. It was cogitating. It was, I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. I used my journal as a thing to try to process strategy or action or next steps rather than getting present. It distracted me from being present in some ways. And I think um, sometimes that's even worth looking at. Like the things we think we're doing in our personal
Mhm.
development that actually are distractions from getting present. Oh yeah, dude, no, I got like 20 books I got to read this month. It's like, yeah. Or if you didn't read any books and you just got present.
Yeah, it's interesting. You as a coach, I'm sure have experienced this with agents you're coaching because it comes up all the time, almost every time.
Mm, mm-hmm.
That they get sidetracked with busy work rather than doing the confronting work.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I'm building my website and cleaning up my CRM, and I've got to design this perfect open house flyer. And I'm like, all right, well, how many people did you talk to? None. I was doing all that other stuff. There's doing the busy work, not the real work. There's not the
Mm,
work that's confronting, but the work that's
yeah.
easy to do. And, on one hand, journaling in that context is that kind of thing, it's like if you're not, which is why I have this whole thing about gratitude journals,
Mm, mm-hmm.
is if you're not going to do the actual work of being accepting and allowing and aware, then
Mm,
don't journal.
mm-hmm.
Doesn't make any sense. It's busy work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think again, the foundation of mindfulness is critical for all that.
Yeah. That we did, I think we did, I can't remember if we named it that, but we did an episode on that, gratitude from the neck down. Just that ability
Did we?
to feel gratitude. Don't just in your mind write this, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, and then you don't get the embodied experience of what that gratitude feels like. Yeah, it was a good episode.
All right, well, I'll have to listen to that. We should redo it then. All right, good. All right, good. Well, I
Yeah.
think that's a useful place to stop. Like, I would love to hear from people about what principles do you think outline a mindful CEO, and any thoughts you have about, what we discussed regarding
Yeah.
keeping yourself grounded in a mindful space before applying
Yeah.
any of these.
There's a group. I don't know if you guys know this. There's a mindful CEO group on Facebook. That's not just for people in the cohorts, right, Aaron?
Right.
That's
I
just
haven't
it's
used it in
a
a long time. I haven't.
yeah, it's a private group. It's there. I'm just thinking if you guys wanted to, it would be interesting. Aaron often invites you to. share thoughts you're having. We do have a contact page on our website, themindfulceo.com. You can just
Hmm.
click on the contact the word contact in the menu, or you could go join that Mindful CEO Facebook group. It's a private group, but it's free. It's just sitting there. But um, plugging into these conversations is another step towards um, putting yourself in the conditions for this conversation. And so there are some resources for you to plug into if you would like to share your thoughts with us. Cool.
Yeah. Great.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
thanks,
man.
Aaron.
Yeah,
Thanks,
dude.
everybody.
That was fun.
We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.